Welcome to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, where we're looking ahead to the weekend's fixtures in the Scottish Premiership. A lot of surprising ones last weekend, Tam, the debut of VAR, but I think one of the most surprising ones would have been Rangers against Livingston, a point each. Yeah,
I think it was. I think that the way Rangers are playing at the minute, it's been poor, but they'll be looking to bounce back obviously against Aberdeen. But at home, you would fancy them to beat Aberdeen. Aberdeen have got a poor record there, but they need to win the game.
Ruffy, after their game against Napoli, does this game become increasingly more important for Van Bronckhorst?
Yeah, I think it does. I think the fans are now on the brink of they don't know which way to go here, and a win would silence a lot of that, because obviously they're still hurting for that Liverpool defeat, that 7-1. So a win is really, really important. I don't even think a draw is good enough to sort of quieten what's going on behind the scenes.
I might be wrong with this as well, but you've seen it in the players, the spark isn't really there, and the fans are on their backs a wee bit. Do you agree with that, Tam? They're not really themselves at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's something missing at Rangers. I can't quite put my finger on it. They need an emphatic win just to change the attitude of the Rangers fans. I think they get them back on side again, but until they get that, I think he's still going to be under pressure. But they might get it tomorrow. They might go and thump Aberdeen, and people might think that Rangers are back, but I don't see it.
What are we thinking then? What's our predictions?
I went for Rangers to win. I went for 3-1 to Rangers.
Right.
Yeah, I went for Rangers to win as well. I think the players have got a lot to prove. The fans will be egging them on, and if they get an early goal, I think they'll go on and win 2-0.
Right. Well, Aberdeen beat Motherwell last weekend. Motherwell are really struggling at the moment, aren't they? They need a result this weekend.
They do. Dundee United struggling as well. Both teams, not in the best of form. I've went for Dundee United just to nick this, simply because Stephen Fletcher scored last week, Tony Watt. I just think they've got a wee bit more quality at the top end of the park. I think it'll be a tight game, but I think I've went for 1-0 to Dundee United.
Well, Ruffy, it took for Stuart McKinstry to score last weekend for them to get that wee bit of fire, but they admitted that themselves, and that can't happen. Something needs to change there. Yeah,
that something does have to change, particularly at home. Obviously they've got to convince their fans that they're going to get themselves away from where they are in the league. So it's important they win their home games, but I can't separate the two of them, and I think I've went for one each in that one.
For Dundee United, before we move on, have you seen what their identity is yet? Do you know what Liam Fox is trying to do there?
No, not yet. And Tam's touched it. They've got two very, very good strikers who really need to come up and start scoring goals to take the pressure off everybody else. And they are a good footballing side, but when you're low in confidence, you just don't get the results you want.
Okay, next game, St Mirren against Hibernian at Easter Road. St Mirren are really surprising a lot of people now, aren't they, Tam?
They are. I think that the run they're on is great. I think that at the start of the season they were after a poor start.
Kind of picked it up a bit, haven't they?
They have. They definitely have. Obviously, the standout results beating Celtic, beating their invincible run. So I think that they'll come with a lot of confidence to Easter Road.
Yeah.
But I think that Hibs might just nick it.
Do you think? Have you been surprised with Martin Boyle recently? 3 goals in 10 games.
Yeah, he's not hit the heights of his first spell. I think it's always difficult. Ruffy, it's always difficult to go back a second time back to Hibs. So, and the pressure's on him. Listen, he's on a big contract at Hibs, so the pressure's on him every week. I think to produce the goods. So, I think Hibs need more, not just from him, but from their whole forward area.
Yeah. Can the fact that the World Cup's coming up for him be in the back of his mind, do you think, Ruffy?
No, if it is at the back of his mind, you need to impress. You want to go to a World Cup in good form. You don't want to go there, and people saying, well, you shouldn't really be here, you're not playing particularly well. But we all know he can turn it on whenever, and the World Cup, I think, he'd be great to watch, when he gets there. But it's not all about him. I mean, I think we keep talking about teams having to impress their fans, and they're another one. You can't have 18,000, 19,000 in a stadium and walking away with a defeat. So they need to turn up tomorrow in numbers, and the players really need to get a win for them.
Well, they'll be without Kyle McManus for this game. He's been back 2 minutes, it feels like, but after the red last weekend, I think Lee Johnson's reasoning for not taking him off was something to do with stats. Should he have been maybe subbed before then?
Possibly. I think sometimes your eyes can be your best judge. They've obviously got the GPS, all that information. He said he had that on the iPad, sitting on the bench. But that's modern football now. Kyle's a competitive player. He snaps into tackles. Unfortunately, mistimed one, and he got the red card. I think it was a turning point in the game, but I still would have expected Hibs to see that game out and win 1-0. So I don't think you can put all the blame on McManus for that. But he's just back in, he played well, and he's obviously got to sit this out with suspension, but I think Hibs have got enough quality to win the game.
Right, well, they obviously dropped points to St Johnstone, who will host Kilmarnock this weekend. Ruffy, a bit of a mixed bag, they too.
Yeah, they are. We thought, well, obviously St Johnstone beat Hibs. I don't think that'd been the case if they hadn't get sent off. But they looked as if they'd got their act together, but still not really producing the form that we thought they were going to do. Kilmarnock will be getting results. You can't take away from them.
I have recently.
I think they've been fortunate in some of the games with the way the games have turned. You know, players sent off and mistakes. So I can't separate the two of them in this one. So I think I've went one each.
Tam, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I don't think there's going to be anything between these teams. I think it's going to be a poor game. Not encouraging anybody to go to the game, but I'm going to go for 0-0. I just
really?
can't separate. I'm going to go. I very rarely go for a 0-0, but this has got a 0-0 over it for me. Okay, then moving on to this Sunday, the early kick-off. We've got Livingston against Celtic. Can Livy take more points off the other side of the Old Firm? I think they can. I don't think they will, but David Martindale will fancy his chances. I think great result last week at Ibrox. You know, they'll take a lot of confidence from that. I think up until the sending off, you know, they were pretty comfortable in the game. So I think at home on that pitch, Livingston are very tough to play against. They've already beat Celtic and Postecoglou last season there, so they'll fancy their chances. But I just think Celtic have got too much quality, and I think they'll win the game 2-1. Right.
Roughly, David Martindale said today that he's not taking any confidence from the Rangers game. But if you're a Livingston player, would you not think, oh, I played out my skin last weekend, I can really go for it now?
No, yes, they will take confidence out of that game. The players will be absolutely buzzing this week. And the performance, you know, that they put in was bang on. And they're at home now, so why wouldn't they? You know, they've already done Celtic there before, and it depends for me how Celtic turn up and how they perform, but I still think Celtic are good enough to win that, but it'll be a battle right till the end.
Yeah. Well, Celtic obviously got 3 points against Hearts, just about got 3 points against Hearts. Tam, can they take it to another level, Celtic, against their opponents when they're really backs against the ropes?
Yeah, I think the result last week, I don't think it was a great performance first half, and I think Livingston will look at that and think, can we do the same?
Yep.
You know, can we go and get close? And can we go and get close to Celtic and put tackles in and put them under pressure? But Celtic, you know, 4 goals. I think they've got a lot of goals in the team. Celtic. Depends who they play. Obviously, got a big game next week against Real Madrid, but I think this game is more important points wise. They want to try and, you know, extend the gap to Rangers. So I think Celtic win the game 2-1, but I totally agree with Ruffy. I think this game could go to the death. I think it'll be a real battle.
Right, finally, the later kick-off. Ross County against Hearts. Hearts obviously getting a better result in Europe on Thursday night. Do you think they would have been dreading this trip had they not get that good result? Yeah,
I think that Hearts need to pick up in the league now. They need to listen. I think the league the European campaign's done. You know, they get 2 good wins against RFS. I think they'll take confidence from that. They'll take the financial boost that they'll get from that. But I think now their bread and butter's got to be the league. I think they're sitting, you know, well down the table for their standards. Ross County, not a great start to the season.
Nah, they've not really kick-started
yet, have they? Haven't. And the Hearts go up there, depleted squad. But I think they've just got enough to nick it. I think I've went for 1-0 to Hearts.
Right, Ruffy, Hearts, can they take confidence from even the Celtic game and their performance in Europe to really kick-start their season?
Yeah, you could see last night when the final whistle went, the joy of winning a game, particularly in Europe. Confidence will be high. They'll go up there. Ross County aren't firing in all cylinders at all. They haven't from the beginning of the season. Malky keeps saying, well, my team's fighting well and all that. But they've lost, I think it's Ross Callaghan. I think he's out injured. He's a big player for them. So I'm going to stick on Hearts as well. I think Hearts will win this one 2-1.
Right, well, there we go. That's another weekend finish. We'll be back next weekend with another round of fixtures. We'll see you then.